the nocturnal cat. Cats are one of the most beloved pets in the world, and even most people who don't have one still love looking at cat pictures. They are adorable and furry, and they bring chaos into our lives, which makes many of us smile, after we've gotten over the frustration, of course. The situation where they can be most frustrating is at night when many people report them causing a ruckus when they are trying to sleep. Most cat owners do little to discourage this behavior or reinforce it, thinking that cats are nocturnal and nature should be left alone as it is. However, the truth is that cats are actually crepuscular. This means that they are more active at dawn and dusk when they use the low light conditions they see well in as an advantageous time to catch prey. This behavior often leads to slightly more energy at night, but cats sleep most of the time, day or night. They will sleep more during the day than during the night, but this is an evolutionary behavior and does not mean they are nocturnal. In essence, they are storing up energy for the dusk hunt and are a little more active at night, still taking naps to prepare for the dawn hunt. The smiling dog. Many dog owners out there will insist that their pooch sometimes smiles at them, especially to smile back when they smile at the dog first. They will also insist that the dog is doing this as a show of happiness, similar to humans. This is a relatively common belief among dog owners, and it is hard to argue with someone when it comes to their personal animal. They, of course, know their pet better than anyone, and you never know. Perhaps their pet is one of the first examples of a newly evolved form of dog that can smile to show happiness. However, the issue is that apart from a colloquial basis of believing our friends, there is not one shred of evidence that dogs smile to show happiness the way humans do. Now, this doesn't make it impossible for some dogs, or breeds of dogs, to have developed the ability to smile for reasons similar to humans. Still, it is important to be careful when anthropomorphizing animal behavior. No one has proven for sure it is impossible, but this isn't evidence for it either, especially when attempts to find such links have failed. If dogs are smiling for a positive reason, it may still be a different emotion than what we would express. The tippable cow. For those who aren't familiar with it, cow tipping is an alleged phenomenon that happens in the rural United States. The legends claim that bored rural teens will go out at night and tip over cows who are sleeping in the fields. It has been featured in popular media many times and has taken root in the imaginations of everyone who has never worked with cows. For those who have worked with cows, either at a farm or using mathematics to study them, the idea is clearly preposterous. Physicists concluded that to tip a cow, you would need at least 5 decent-sized people, and that is if the cow is not resisting you, which it almost certainly would be. See, according to farmers who work with cows, they tend to be wary of strangers and of anyone at night, even people they know. Sneaking up on cows in order to tip them without them knowing would be next to impossible, even for someone who knows them. Finally, cows often sleep lying down, and you can't tip over something that is already on the ground. The wise owl. Owls are seen as wise, and although this has been reinforced many times by popular modern media, it goes all the way back to ancient times. Athena was depicted with an owl, and she was the Greek goddess of wisdom. As for why people came to think this, a likely reason is simply because of how they look. They have large eyes, look a little bit like they are wearing glasses, and have extra large brains. When you put all this together, it is not hard to imagine how people came to the conclusion that owls are super smarty-pants birds. However, the truth is, owls actually aren't all that smart, even compared to other birds. Owls do not have problem-solving abilities or the tool-using skills of birds like ravens or crows, and they do not stand out in this respect. So, why do owls have such huge brains? Well, their brains are large and packed with everything they need, but they aren't intelligent in the conventional sense. Owls' brains are designed to handle all the sensory data they need to effectively hunt at night, using their amazing vision and hearing to take down their prey. The mouse-phobic elephant. The myth that elephants are afraid of mice is probably most popularly depicted in Dumbo, but it goes back to the days of the ancient Greeks. Part of the reason the misconception took hold so strongly is because many scientists believed it for hundreds of years before anyone really even thought to challenge the idea. We have all heard the claim that elephants are afraid the mouse will go up its trunk and cause it to suffocate. The elephant, fearing this intrusion, goes absolutely nuts trying to avoid the mouse. However, the truth behind it is that elephants are sort of afraid of mice, but not for that reason. Elephants get freaked out by anything fast and small zipping through their legs, especially something small enough and fast enough that they cannot track it. One scientist even saw an elephant act just as bothered by a small dog that kept running around it. Finally, even if a mouse did somehow go up an elephant's trunk, it could easily blow it out, and it still has a mouth to breathe through as well. The eternally standing horse. Some people have heard that horses sleep standing up, and it is true that they are capable of doing so. Horses, especially in the wild, are known to sleep standing up a good bit of the time. This is an old evolutionary trait from when more horses lived in the wild, and they had to protect themselves from predators. Despite their strength, horses actually take a decent bit of time to get back on their feet and more energy than we would use. For this reason, plus the fact that they can see better with their heads up high, they developed this ability. However, just because they do it some of the time does not mean they do it all the time. Horses can rest partly by allowing one leg to rest while the others hold it up. But what it cannot do is get proper rest in that position. Since it is doing this to protect itself from predators, the sleep horses get in this position is not full REM sleep, allowing them to run away quickly if danger comes. For full REM sleep, horses need to lie down, and they do. Usually this is done when the horse feels safe. The camel with his own water tower. Camels are fascinating animals, and many of us have experienced seeing one up close at a zoo. However, outside of a zoo, most of us are unlikely to have much in the way of experiences with camels. This is, of course, due to their well-known desert-dwelling nature. They have such excellent abilities to survive in the desert that they have become the #1 source of animal transport over the years in arid regions. This has led to many folk legends about the camel, including one popular myth many people believe, that they store water in their humps to survive the desert heat. The truth is that the hump is actually there to store fat. This fat can help them survive in the desert, but as a source of emergency food, not water. So if the hump doesn't store water, then how do camels manage to survive for up to 15 days without a drink? Well, apart from getting some water from the plants they eat, which helps them survive in the winter, they also simply lose far less water than most animals. They excrete a more concentrated form of urine and do not lose as much moisture through their breath and sweat as other animals. The blind bat. We have all heard the expression blind as a bat, and we all know what it means. Whether it is meant in jest or in a more derogatory manner, the message is clear. You see very poorly, and they are ribbing you for it. Often it is used to sarcastically point out when someone fails to see something that is rather obvious. We also know that bats use echolocation, which can give them a detailed sonar map of their environment. For this reason, plus the fact they seem bothered by light, we assume they see very poorly, or not at all. However, this really could not be farther from the truth. The truth is that bats actually see quite well, at least at night, although they do not have the robust color vision that we do. As they are nocturnal and have eyes that are sensitive to low light conditions, they are bothered by bright lights, especially disturbing them while they are doing their hanging upside down and sleeping thing. So why do they need echolocation? The thing is, bats hunt and live in the darkest places, so they need all the help they can get. It is an augmentation to their sight and helps them catch prey in the dark. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.